Originally constructed in 1996, Las Vegas Motor Speedway held its first major event in September of that year, an IndyCar race won by Richie Hearn. The first NASCAR event, the Craftsman Truck Series race, followed 2 months later. The Xfinity Series paid a visit in 1997 before the NASCAR Cup Series arrived in '98, marking the beginning of the track's long-term success. Changes to the oval in 2006 made it a more competitive venue for stock cars. This major renovation revamped the banking, upping it from a modest 12 degrees to 20. Not only that, but the corners were banked progressively, meaning the further up the racing surface, the steeper the banking. Lap times got quicker, racing got more competitive, with the current stock car track record held by Kurt Busch at just over 196 miles an hour. Tonight, it's the ZeroX Strategy Series Sin City 125, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway Race 2, Season 2, the Sin City 125 ZeroX Strategy Series coming at you. Race details tonight, 82-degree ambient temperature. Nice and dry out here in the desert, 27% humidity, partly cloudy skies, a breezy 15-mile-an-hour wind, 88-degree track temperature. Race distance tonight, 125 laps. Fuel on board at 65%, 2 sets of tires available over the wall, 0 fast repairs, count them, 0 zip zillage, and 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish if necessary. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway. Fast time so far is the 3 of Brandon Moore. Man, it gets a little dark here as the sun hides behind the clouds. Just about to see the black and red flags on this practice session. We'll get right into qualifying thereafter. Before we get into qualifying, I want to thank the sponsors yet again here: ZeroX Media and Design, Admin Box, Snowbelt Industries, Youngblood Racing, and Fueled Up. These partners all jumping on board to help make this season possible. Practice in the books, getting ready for qualifying here. Looks like Robbie Good may be the first driver to roll out. Thinks better of it. Oh, forgot to put gas in it. We'll try. Raymond Hanneman was fast last week. Hanneman just inches off the wall off turn number 2. Awfully close. Don't know if he might have got a piece of it there. Really digging out there right now. Coming to the stripe here. Let's see what kind of lap he can throw down. Lap 1 crosses the line. It counts. 29.657. One and done for Hanneman. Can see why he quit there, but it doesn't take long as Matt Sisler goes to the point with a 6.56, beats Hanneman by 1/1000th of a second. Treat jumps up to P3, then now Brandon Moore goes to the point. Very fast lap for the 3 at 29.538. Moore checks up out of the gas. He's going to give it a quit here on this lap. Call it a day. Stange wraps up with a 5:71. It apparently seems like lap 1 is the lap of record these guys are worried about. There's been a few of these guys that have opted to just come in and pit, call lap 2 off, and just stand on that first lap, as Smith was trying to get a little extra, and he gets the wall, so that's going to do it for his attempt. Tommy Janikowski. Tommy crosses the line here. Where does he land? 7th quick with a 69. Rance Tatro, no longer in a testing paint scheme this week. Tatro goes 16th, 29.808. We'll see if we can pick it up on lap 2. Rance crosses the line, stays put, loses a little time on lap 2, 30.008. Nathan Line now out on the track. Line appears to be the last car to go here. Nathan Line across the stripe, 29.750, good enough for 14th. He stays in the gas. Just about a minute left in the session. He'll give it another lap here, see if he can improve. Line will finish up his qualifying run. He ran both laps. Does he improve on lap 2? No lap counted. With that, we're going to step aside very briefly before we get to our starting grid. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, practice and qualifying complete. It's time for our race session, but before we get to that, let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position, with a lap time of 29.538 seconds from Fueled Up Motorsports, it's Brandon Moore. Outside pole, missed it by 33 thousandths of a second, it's Chris Stange. Jamie Dunning will start in the second row with Robbie Good to the outside. In the third row, it's Matt Sisler and Raymond Hanneman. Row 4, it's Dave Mayberry and Tom Janikowski. Row 5, it's Jason Aranchak and Jason Blaney. Kerwin Marshall will start from the 11th position. Jim Treat will start 12th. 13th starter is Chris Cornett. Nathan Line will roll from the 14th position. Wesley Jeanette, 15th. Johnny DePasquale will start 16th. Carson Youngblood, 17th. Rance Tatro will start 18th. Again, I'm screwing that name up, guys. I know you already told me how to say it. I just can't get it right. Austin Walton will be 19th. 20th, Juan Linares. Don Cartwright, 21st. 22nd, Michael Thorne. Benjamin Smith, 23rd. 24th goes to Tommy Pulte. 25th, Chris Pereira. Blake Hochschild, 26th. Derek Buckaloo, 27th. Jackson West will start in the 28th and final position here today. That's your starting grid from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 125 laps of racing action coming up next. Field rolling away from the start-finish line. 1 lap under the yellow before we go racing here behind the iRacing pace truck. Again, the race details tonight. 82 degrees, the temperature, 27% humidity under partly cloudy skies. 13-mile-per-hour breeze, track temp 88 degrees, and likely to fall as we are getting later in the day here. 125 laps the race distance, 65% load of fuel available to the drivers, 2 sets of tires over the wall, no fast repairs, 0 zip zillage, and 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish if necessary. Jason Blaney may have been given an EOL here to start tonight's race. A few others for various reasons. Blaney's was due to winning last week. They try to disadvantage the winners the following race just so one guy doesn't walk away with everything. Pace car is in. Brandon Moore hangs on to the top spot off turn number 4. He'll lead lap number 1 over Chris Stange coming to the stripe. Top 2 starting to try and stretch their legs a bit already. It's Moore, Stange, Gunning, Sisler, and Aranchak the top 5. Already the stream chat is busy. I love it. Keep it up, guys. I love seeing you guys in there chatting it up. Really do appreciate that. Makes it fun for everybody. Moore continues to lead. The top 3 still single file. Some moving around here further back. Kerwin Marshall changing lanes in front of Hanneman. Goes to the bottom of the racetrack in the Amazon Prime number 4. Had a brief conversation with Dustin Rogerson last week after the race as we go 3 wide off turn number 4. The 4 gets into the fence. They touch fenders just a bit, but everybody continues on. He said, hey, lay off those field-off motorsports guys. Don't talk about them so much. But then he did reiterate that it's like half the field, so it's going to be hard to do, and I still haven't learned all the teams yet, so we'll try to work on that. Hanneman started 6th. He stays in 6th, but the man on the move right now, Jason Aranchak, up 4 positions, trying to make it 5. Aranchak in the 84, the multicolored with the green number on the door. Hanneman almost right reared him, gets to the outside. Aranchak was up 5, but now he's slipped. Now he's only up 3, running in the 6th position. Another big mover to this point, furthest up the field so far, up 8 positions, is 16 of Carson Youngblood. Well, the 84 now stepping out of line again. A lot of these guys are going to have to pay attention to their tire wear. You can't be too aggressive too early. Usually those first 10 laps on a set of sticker tires is going to determine how well they hold up the rest of the run. Obviously, you get a lot of heat into those tires. It becomes very difficult to cool them off, but now the caution is on the Speedway. Looks like Wesley Jeanette with a problem, parked on the back straightaway here all by himself. Jeanette might be stuck in the wall here. Let's see what happened here to the 74 machine that put us under the yellow for the first time tonight. something amiss. He gets down to the apron of the racetrack. I don't know if he had a connection problem, maybe with the hardware that he's working with. Sometimes when they fail, they'll fail to one direction or the other, and it may have been the case here for the 74. No real rhyme or reason for it other than that. So 8 laps in, standings as they run, it's Moore, Stange, Dunning, Hanneman, Matt Sisler, Jason Aranchak, Chom Janikowski, Youngblood, Good, and Walt in the top 10. Mother Nature blessing us with a little bit of shade out here in the desert right now. That's going to change the track temperature slightly. As it runs right now, track down to 88 degrees. That's actually right about where we started, so not a whole lot of cooling just yet. Check back on that later. So some pit stops already underway. They'll come down into the attention of their crews. Again, only 2 sets of tires, so at this stage right now, I can imagine no one's going to bite on fresh rubber, fuel only for everybody up and down pit lane. Very quick splash and go for the field. It's one of those things where they don't really need the fuel yet, but some guys come in and you don't. They're going to have that fuel advantage later on in the run, and if we do run long here, that could present a problem for some of those drivers late. It just kind of puts them off sequence. Right now, it's okay, I guess, that everybody's doing that. The old adage, you follow the leader, you're going to follow the leader. It does ring true, but early on here, I can't see it costing us too much. You got to really get a feel for what's going out there, the racetrack, how the race is coming to you. Do you have the speed to contend with the leaders, or do you need to pull some strategy later on? You'll see some different pit decisions later on in this race, I'm sure of it. So the top 2 stayed out on the racetrack. That's Tom Janikowski and Kerwin Marshall, the 93 and the 4. They'll take charge as we get back underway. So we have already seen some decision-making change. Those top 2 that stayed out on the racetrack. So you know what? We're going to get another one of these. They're kind of banking on that. We are in Vegas after all. We might as well gamble a little bit. Lights on the iRacing pace truck have been extinguished, so the next time by, we'll be back green flag racing. Here's Wesley Jeanette, never made it back to pit lane, so the day likely over for the number 74 Ford Mustang. So we get tightened up for another restart. Pace truck makes the left turn to come down pit road. Barney with the green in hand, ready to throw it and get us back underway. Janikowski unable to hold off the 3 of Brandon Moore, even with the heavier fuel on board. Moore's rockets back out to the lead here. So far, every lap under green flag conditions, the 3 has been in charge. Janikowski running second, Hanneman third now, Stange and Marshall the top 5. Battling back behind these guys. Jamie Dunning in the number 54 to the outside of Carson Youngblood. Youngblood may slot back in, kind of thread the needle there in front of the 84. Oh, a couple of cars into the wall on exit of turn 4. Line will up the racetrack there alongside the 77 of Robbie Good. Robbie trying to show the 38 how good he is. And he gets it done. Back up front, though, challenge for the race lead. Janikowski trying to find a route around the outside of Brandon Moore. He's there alongside down the Nellis straightaway. Moore sticks it on the bottom, has the speed, but a little crossover. Janikowski takes a look back to the inside. Nothing doing there. We'll run in the tire tracks. About a car length advantage for Brandon Moore. Now Hanneman back into the third position now. He's going to be a charger up here. Let's ride on board with Hanneman. It's the driver's eye camera built into the helmet of each driver. Relatively new technology the last handful of years that some of the broadcast platforms have integrated into their streams, and then even in real life, Fox, NBC. It's about as close of an angle as you're going to get unless you sit in the car yourself. Hanneman seems comfortable in that third spot, not pushing the issue, just kind of matching the speed of the drivers in front of him. Moore's last lap a 30.23, Janikowski a 28, Hanneman a 30. They're all within the same tenth of a second, but this time Hanneman was just a tick faster than the top two. Moore and Janikowski running identical lap times, both with a 30.42. Hanneman with a 30.39. Moore able to hold off Janikowski still for the time being. Janikowski keeps switching lanes. Gotta wonder if Janikowski's got a dirt background, because he's certainly not shy about trying to find where that grip is. Quick check on Matt Sisler in the number 31. Sisler certainly no stranger to Track Limits Network. We've covered the action with him in multiple series over the years. Good little driver at the wheel of that number 31 machine with the 3 birdies. Sponsorship adorned on that Chevy Camaro. "20 laps in already here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Moore continues to lead from pole. Only laps he has not been credited with the top spot were under caution when he opted to come down and pit for fuel. Chris Cornett, the number 88, battling with the 77 of Robbie Good. Good at the top of the racetrack. Cornett may have the pass complete here on exit of turn number 2, and he does. This a battle for the 11th position. Cornett's got it now. Next in his sights will be Jason Aranchak. You can see with this Nevada sun shining down on the racetrack how important it is to have the proper tinting on the top of the windshield. in addition to the helmet itself, if you don't get that right, you're going to be staring at a lot of glare for a little while. Visibility makes a difference. Even here in this sim, it can be blinding, certainly depending on your graphical settings. Here's a way around it. But we're all about realism. It is a simulation after all. Cornette now up into the 10th spot. Did he get clear? And there he is, but Ranchak gives him a shot down the backstretch. Cornette's got some pace here. Started 13th. He's already now into the top 10. We've watched him just here for a handful of laps. He's already picked up a couple of more spots. Meanwhile, out in front, Moore starting to get some breathing room on second place. It's now Hanneman. Janikowski has slipped to third. Taking a look at those lap times again. Moore still running some pretty quick laps here. A 30.75 the last time. Hanneman only 300ths shy of that. But everybody down to P6 matching or almost matching the leader's lap time. Again, Moore was a 75, Hanneman is 78, Janikowski, Stange, Dunning a 76, and then Youngblood in P6 was a 75. Talk about tight competition here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in this ZeroX Strategy Series. ZeroX Media and Design in the chat says he actually started with an EOL, so is that Cornette? Talked about a lot of people, and there's a little bit of a delay from it coming back to me, so I'm assuming you mean Cornette. If that's the case, man, he is on fire. And he did pit during that caution as well, so he didn't just pick up a bunch of track position because he stayed out. He pit. Hanneman really not closing any ground on Moore just yet. In fact, he may have lost a little bit. Still not running the lap times as the leader, except this past time. It was 300ths quicker than Moore, but it's going to take more than that. If you're only half a tenth quicker than the leader, if you do run him down with that type of pace, you're probably not going to have the pace to make that pass. You're going to have to find a way, maybe force your way around. Not to mention the fact as the closer you get to the lead car, you're going to have some handling characteristics change on you. You might lose the nose a bit, get a little aero tight. It's another adjustment that they'll have to make, but I'm certain Hanneman will be able to make that adjustment when and if he gets there. He's cut a tenth of a second off, though, in the last lap and a half. Hanneman's still about a half second back off of Brandon Moore. We'll jump around a bit here, look through the field, see where else to find some of these battles. Carson Youngblood in one right now. Youngblood in the number 16. The inside Austin Walton in the number 9. Matt Sisler still in the 8th position. Fallen a bit from the start of the race, but has held on into the top 10 here for a while. Cornette still hungry for more. Brandon Moore, too. Not quite there yet, though. Cornette running in the 8th position. Ooh. Opened the wheel up a bit much there. Got real close to the safer barrier. No contact was made, but he is hustling that race car right now, trying to get all he can out of it in this first run. ZeroX Media and Design filling us in on Mr. Youngblood. He's only 16 years old, runs the Legend cars in real life, and he's hanging tough. That is awesome to know. Carson Youngblood in the number 16 car there on the bottom of the racetrack, just ahead of Cornette. Cornette's going to put the pressure on. These guys are all over each other off turn number 4. Walton goes up the racetrack, gives a lane for the 88 to punch through, decides not to, though, stays in behind the 16 of Youngblood. Youngblood tries to thread the needle in front of the 9 and gets the position. Just inches to spare between the two of them, but he got it there. That's the difference with these young guys. They are not afraid to force the issue sometimes. That can be a benefit and a detriment, depending on how it shakes out. In this case, it worked for him. You always want a guy that you want to try and slow down. It's much easier to pull him back than it is to speed him up. That might be the case here with Youngblood. Still watching this battle. Nothing's changed up at the front of the field as far as the top 2 is concerned. Moore still leads. Hanneman second, but falling back further, about 6 1/4 tenths behind the 3. Back under the green flag here since about lap 10. Maybe it was 11. Those are the last pit stops, though. See Marshall and Janikowski, they've got 35 laps on this set of tires and this load of fuel. So if anyone makes a green flag stop, it'll be those two first. Not quite sure what the fuel window is, and throwing the caution into the mix there is going to kind of throw those numbers off, but we'll keep an eye on it. 3 wide for position. Cornette forces his way through on the bottom, slots up in front of Youngblood and gets the spot. So Youngblood now back to the 7th position. Cornette now looking for the top 5, and he's got it. Janikowski was up in the front of the field here, but he continues to fall backwards. Started 8th. Currently in 8th, but not for long as line goes by on the bottom of the racetrack, and I think Janikowski is going to lose another one here to Johnny DePasquale. And here comes Matt Sisler. 93 Janikowski handling maybe going away on that Camaro. Check on Jim Treat here really fast last week at Daytona. Not seeing much out of him just yet. He started 12th, currently running in the 20th position. About a 10th off the race leader's pace right now. Youngblood trying to save another position here as the 1. Johnny DePasquale works to the inside. 40 laps in here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They're clicking off in a hurry. We've been green for quite some time now, about 30 laps. Chris Danes running back in 14th. A little bit longer pit stop is the only thing I can see that happened to the 72, but we're talking about a second and a half longer than the rest of the guys out there. So may have lost some positions there, or just might be in tire conservation mode. It doesn't appear he's got any damage to the car, so Give it time. Sometimes these things just kind of come together eventually. Matt Sisler alongside Youngblood. Very close quarters battle there. Youngblood with the momentum down the back straightaway will clear Sisler into turn 3 by a couple of car lengths. Jason Blaney now working his way back up towards the front. Again, an EOL penalty for the race to start for Blaney, a win penalty from last week. Sisler with a run. Youngblood's going to close the door. Will Sisler take evasive action? Goes to the top. Another block from Youngblood. Again, you see this with these young guys throwing these blocks early. If I could give advice at all, I'll give it this way. Don't do that early on in the race, because now you're going to build up some enemies for later on. You throw those blocks late, they're just going to drive through you. Looks like Youngblood let him go here, so Sisler will take the spot. Blaney will follow him on through. So unfortunately for Carson, he's going to slip a couple of spots, maintain his position in the top 10. Blaney, though, not able to complete the pass. Youngblood gets the run down the back straightaway and saves that position, at least for now. 45 laps in here. Brandon Moore starting to check out here. It's 1.2 now, back to Raymond Hanneman. Comfortable lead for Moore. He can dictate the pace now. He can check up a little, save some tire, maybe a little fuel. And out the back window, Raymond Hanneman getting smaller and smaller in that view. Hanneman got about a quarter second over Jamie Dunning right now. 2-3 car lengths back to the 54, but I think Dunning is reeling him in. Was just a tick faster than the 85 the last time by, and there he gains a lot of ground in the middle of 3 and 4 there. Cuts it down to about a car length and a half, maybe 2 as they come back to start finish. Another call to Chris Cornett. Remember we talked about him about 15 laps ago, how he started at the back of the pack and has cut his way through this field. He's up into the top 5 in the 4th position. May have a battle for second here before we know it. Dunning has really run down Hanneman here. Gonna have to battle with some dirty air, but he may get this pass done before we know it. And Hanneman's going to come to pit lane. Green flag stops underway here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Hanneman pulls off. Brandon Moore also in the pit lane at this time from the race lead. So we'll look at that pit strategy again here. 40 laps on this stint for now for some of these drivers. Moore cleanly into his pit box. Right side tires going on. Sunoco Racing fuel going in. Crew around to the left sides. 4-tire change. Fresh Goodyear Eagles going on. The Moore machine drops the jack down and away. 14:65 the pit stop for Brandon Moore. Not too shabby, but Chris Cornett now your race leader. About 13 laps shy of halfway. Cornett out in front. Green flag pit stops underway. Jamie Dunning, Mayberry, Youngblood, Cartwright, Smith, and West in the pits. We'll stay with the leaders for now. Right now it's Cornett, Nathan Line, Johnny DePasquale, Matt Sisler, Jason Blaney, the top 5. Remember, they came down in pit at lap 8. Certainly going a little further than some of the other drivers, but that might just be tire-based for some of those decisions. Again, looking at the strategies, 42 laps so far on this run, and Cornette may be coming now, and he does. So 42 laps on a load of fuel. Four tires and fuel for Cornette. He drops the jack and heads on out. Slower stop, though, for the 88, 15:52. Eighth in line, though, very quick stop. Almost a second faster than the 88. Really allows him to close the gap. Remember, that was 1 and 2, first and second, when they came down into pit lane. Now that moves Matt Sisler out in front of the field. He's gone a bit longer on this tank of fuel. Sisler now at 44 laps, and he's going to come down and pit. So it looks like 44 laps, the furthest anyone willing to go on a full load of fuel. Matt Sisler got it done, but I'll say this much. We've seen Sisler in other series been very good at saving fuel. See if that benefits him here as this race gets closer to its conclusion. It just means he's going to have a little bit fresher tires underneath him. Four freshies, and Sisler heads back on out. Last driver to make the pit stop, but that's going to move Brandon Moore and Hanneman back 1-2. But you look at the differential between these two. Hanneman is right there, almost to the back bumper of Brandon Moore. Which, looking at the pit stops here, Moore had a much faster stop. 14:65 was the time for Brandon Moore, 4 tires and fuel. Hanneman was a 15:15, but you break it down further. The time spent, total time spent on pit lane, was much less for Raymond Hanneman. We're talking about 0.6 of a second less time in the pits. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but at full speed, that's a lot. That's a pretty considerable distance, as Hanneman's making a move in 3 here, trying to take over the top spot. First attempt at a lead change here from Hanneman. As Moore's way up the racetrack, he'll have a big-time run, just barely off the wall. Cuts down in front of the 85 of Hanneman. Ooh, Moore might have scraped the fence there just a bit, throwing some sparks and a little bit of dust. Using every inch of the racetrack. Going to run down some lap traffic here. It looks like it's going to be the 84. Jason Aranchak. Mason may have had a problem previously. There's certainly 7 laps down now to this point. May go down 8 here momentarily, but Hanneman's not giving up the fight. He'll switch lanes. He'll try to get to the outside of Moore. Down the back straightaway, he has the run. Momentum on the side of Raymond Hanneman up the racetrack. Coming to the line. Too bad this wouldn't be the finish. What a great finish that would have been. But Hanneman to the race lead and now clear of Brandon Moore. Moore down to the apron here through the dog leg, I guess you could call it, or the D, or the tri-oval. You know where it is. Hanneman, though, faster, 0.5 tenth quicker than Moore the last time by. Ranchak's car, though, looks pretty clean. I think he'll be able to hold his own here for a little bit as these leaders are still running quick lap times. Hanneman's certainly going to try and defend Moore for a little bit. Clean air is king. It's where you want to be. The car handles at its best when you're in clean air. But, again, Aranchak being up there almost reeling these guys in or vice versa. It's going to create some dirty air for both these cars. So Hanneman really starting to put some distance now on Brandon Moore. I think this battle has come to its end, at least for the time being. We'll see how it shapes up later on in the run. Meanwhile, Jason Blaney running in behind Matt Sisler. This is the battle for the 9th position, but Sisler's got other ideas. He was going to go around Austin Walton here, try and take the 8th position away. He's got a nose out in front at the line. He'll be scored as 8th, but can he get clear? It looks like he will. Walton may have the run, though. Kind of arced the corner a little bit later than Sisler, but Sisler's going to try and close it off. Does the 9 change lanes? No, he's going to ride in the tire tracks of the 31. Hanneman still out in front, just about to be halfway here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're going to step aside here in a moment, take our track limits side-by-side break, so we'll still be able to watch the action. I need a break. Stay with us, folks. I'll be right back. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Sorry, we ran the commercials a little longer than we had planned. We got all the way through them and started over, but sorry about that. We're back. 70 laps in here. Hanneman still leads over Brandon Moore. About 4/10 plus, back to the 3 for the time being. Lap time still really consistent between the two. They ran identical laps the last time, a 30.86 for the both of them, but Chris Cornett ran a 73. Jamie Dunning is 74. And Nathan Line in 5th is 65. Those guys are running quicker than the leaders right now. Checking back into the stream chat here, Chris Klein says, that's great racing. Chris Klein, obviously a driver himself, comes over from the Numb Thumbs Racing League, but is participating in many broadcasted series with Track Limits Network, so he's seen a few laps or two. ZeroX Media Design says, yes, sir, Mr. Klein. Definitely a solid roster of drivers. We got Megan Elizabeth, absolutely. Wanted some clean racing, and all these drivers are delivering. That's what matters. Clean racing keeps it fun. That was from Megan. Now, I want to make a special note on that about this clean racing that we're seeing. Rogerson said in the Discord earlier, says, maybe a caution-free race. Well, if we don't get another caution before this is over, I'm going to count it, because I'm pretty sure the caution that we had with Wesley Jeanette was hardware related. It was not a real incident to speak of. The car just took a left turn and stopped down the back straightaway, and it brought the yellow out. At most tracks, I don't think it really would have. So, yeah, we're going to count it if they get there. Then we got some racing to go, some more pit stops and things, so we'll see how things pan out, but we're going to have a battle for the lead here momentarily. Hanneman's lead has shrunk considerably. He is right there. Brandon Moore making a move for the lead. This might be lap traffic induced with that dirty air, or Moore was just taking care of his stuff. Either way, Moore looking for the race lead. He's underneath him. Still lap traffic involved. Side by side down the Nellis straightaway. Back and forth they go. Hanneman going to try to defend using the high side. That's going to carry that momentum a little bit. And Moore tries to close him off. Hanneman gets the wall off of turn number 4. Just didn't want to lift or lost the nose with the 3 up in front of him. Wesley Jeanette filling us in the chat says, my screens went black. Well, same thing. We'll call that a hardware failure. Could be software, but screens are hardware. If you can't see them, you can't drive. I will give you credit, though. Did an excellent job getting that thing off the racetrack. Nobody got collected. You parked it on the inside wall and just shut her down. Job well done. Meanwhile, Brandon Moore now stretching his lead out quickly out to almost half a second over Hanneman. Very interesting, too. It's all driving style that's creating this. This is a fixed setup series, so it's not like they've got a car set up for the long run or for the short run or an intermediate. It's all in how you drive them, how you take care of the tires. We talked about that early on. Those first 8 to 10 laps in green flag conditions really kind of dictate how those tires will behave later on in the run. Again, speaking of cooling, we talked about that, and then the caution came out. Trying to cool these tires down, that is half the battle. It is extremely difficult to do at speed. The only real opportunity you're going to get is that caution, and in these cases, I don't think anybody's taken all of their tires yet. We've got one set bolted on during our last round of pit stops. My curiosity, though, will be, does anybody save a set for that late caution that could come out? We don't know if it'll happen. Some guys, again, we are in Vegas, they like to gamble. Maybe they'll say, well, I don't have a shot the way we're doing this. I'm going to take fuel only, get some track position, and then cross my fingers that I'll get a yellow in 10 or 15 laps. And then they're going to look like Superman out there. 21 cars still on the lead lap. The last car on the lead lap, the number 91 of Blake Hochschild. It's about 8 seconds up in front of Moore here before he could be potentially losing another lap. Lap 80 up on the board. Moore continues to lead and ever so slightly running away from Raymond Hanneman. Check on some other guys here. Matt Sisler just outside the top 5, running the tire tracks of Nathan Line. Johnny DePasquale, kind of the same story back in 7th. Austin Walton started 19th tonight, into the top 10. Blaney with the EOL just ahead of him. For the Robbie Good fans out there, up to the 11th position, knocking on the door of a top 10. Chris Stange trying to fight his way back towards the front. Had a real solid qualifying effort. Has the pace in the race car, but maybe pushing too hard on the tires. Got to make an adjustment. Rance Tatro in the 18. Rance up 3 spots in the top 15 now in 15. Jim Treat now up into the 17th spot as he works underneath Benjamin Smith. Still in 3rd place, Chris Cornett, also a driver that started with an EOL penalty to start this race. Fought through the field and is really holding his own, hanging on to that 3rd position as Tom Janikowski will come to pit lane. Already approaching our 2nd round of green flag stops. It went by like that. So Janikowski down and away, 12:57, not a 4-tire stop. So as we kind of thought earlier on, we talked about some strategies that could be at play. This may be one here. ZeroX Media and Design talking about Rance Tatro also had to serve an EOL penalty, so he's had to fight his way back through, but he's already up 2 spots from where he qualified. That in itself, that's always a good thing, but when you're forced to the back to start the race, he had a lot more work to do to get where he's at, so still a solid run going for the 18. Want to give him a little bit more love here because that paint scheme didn't want to load for us last week. Michigan Rustic prints the paint scheme on board that number 18. Austin Walton now will come to pit lane. So Chris Klein in the chat says, can Hanneman do something different after the next pit stop to make the tires last a little bit longer and get some distance on Moore? Well, absolutely. Or he could just pit and take fuel, save a set, and gamble. Maybe we get the caution late, but I'll tell you, the way this one's going, I wouldn't bet on it. Again, we are in Vegas, but that's a gamble I would not want to take. These guys have been running awfully clean since that first yellow has come out. You might want to bolt on that set of tires, run this one out all the way to the bitter end, but that's not going to be the case. Moore and Hanneman in pit lane. Moore's down and away. Hanneman's down and away. Hanneman with another quick stop. 14.65 to Moore's 15.07. Moore just had too much of a lead getting in and either got in faster than Hanneman did. We'll see if this plays out, though. We're going to be 35 laps to go the next time across start-finish. When everybody cycles back through, now we got to cross our fingers here we don't get a caution in the middle of this pit cycle, because that's going to trap a lot of guys a lap down. As it stands right now, Chris Cornett back out in front. Kind of how things played out during that last green flag cycle. Cornett maybe thought about pitting there. He shook the car a little bit. I don't think that was a loose situation. I wonder if he's getting low on fuel. Stays out on the racetrack for another lap. Cornett's going to pull off the track now, come to pit lane, and goes a little wide. Hopefully he gets it woed down. No issue with the commitment cone at all, but that could have been scary. What am I talking about? It was scary. Nathan Lyon's going to follow him in. That may move Jim Treat up to the top spot. Treat may have another set of tires laying there as well. Last set to be used. Right side's going on Cornett's. Does he take two or does he take all four? It's going to be all four. 4 tires Sunoco fuel for Chris Cornett. He'll get back out there. Jim Treat now will inherit the race lead. Cornett still shown second. Moore now slots by. He'll take it over. And Treat's going to lower down. He's going to come to pit lane. These guys are getting everything they can. It's a good place to try and make up time. Obviously, you think about how we run these cars on road courses. Slow in, fast out. That's not always the way you want to get into pit lane. Maybe some corners on a road course, but you use those brakes, get on them as late as humanly possible, knowing that there's a maximum speed that you have to adhere to in the pits, so you lose as least amount of time as possible on entry. And then be sure to hammer that throttle as soon as the nose of the race car exits pit lane, and then do all you can to be quick on the apron of the racetrack before you get to that blend line, that exit cone that you'll see when Treat pulls out of pit lane. You'll see it here in a moment. There's a line and a blue cone. They cannot rejoin the racing surface until after that cone, but the trick to it is maximize that corner the best that you can. There's a tiny bit of banking there that you can try and utilize, but if you get the car crossed up on it, it could cause more problems than you could gain. There's the line. He just passed it. So Treat back on the gas, but Moore back out in front of this field. Shadow's getting longer here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And I'm biased here. I kind of like that paint scheme on that Brandon Moore machine. Uh-oh. Where'd he go? Oh, he's back. That's good. Or sporting the factory FX colors, which honestly, it kind of looks like the old AC Delco scheme on the 3-car. Maybe a Dale Earnhardt Jr. throwback. Speaking of Dale Earnhardt Jr., if you guys missed it, we had a nice surprise from him last night in the IROC Challenge Series at Talladega Super Speedway, the series in which TJ Majors runs regularly. Must have put a bug in Junior's ear, said, hey, why don't you come race with us? Well, he did just that. He showed up, he led some laps, qualified well, finished in P6, but just the sole fact that we got to broadcast a race with Junior in it, that was a blast. you want to check it out, it's certainly on the channel. You can go back and watch it, and it was an incredible race and an even better finish. So check that out if you're interested. But man, the way these guys run here, we're going to have some great races and some great finishes this season. We are just getting started. While we have an opportunity here with these green flag stops finished up, let's take a look at the schedule going forward. We will run next week, Tuesday the 25th at Iowa. It's the Iowa 150. And then that'll be it the rest of the week. We're going to take some time and enjoy some family and some turkey, but then on December 2nd, back at Chicagoland, Pocono, Kansas. Then we got an all-star race just before Christmas Eve on the 23rd. That'll be at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Phoenix Raceway, Homestead, Miami, Indy. I don't know if that's the big track or IRP. Either way, it's going to be fun. Texas, Dover, Michigan, Old Atlanta, the Tire Shredder, Talladega Super Speedway. Then February 24th is the date on the calendar for Watkins Glen, but I'll be traveling out of state that whole week. So we're going to do that on a tape delay, and it's going to be sponsored by Track Limits Network. Darlington, March 3rd. Charlotte again on the 10th. Gateway on the 17th, St. Patrick's Day. That'll be a fun one. And to close the season at Nashville, not sure if we're at Fairgrounds or Super Speedway, but again, you really can't go wrong with either one of them. "25 laps to go from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Moore and Hanneman, the duo in charge of this race so far. Who is going to win this, though? That's the main question. As Moore continued to dominate, he seems to have been the car to beat all night. But that remains the question. Chris Klein brought it up. What can Hanneman do? Well, it might have been what Brandon Moore was doing on that last run. Took care of his stuff. Hanneman got around him very early on in the run, but it seems now that Moore's hammered down. He's running 10/10ths right now, trying to run qualifying laps to stay out in front of the 85. Does Hanneman have an opportunity to save a little bit for the end here, barring a caution flag? Again, most of these guys don't have any tires left, but there might be a couple that gamble. Want to make a note about March 17th. That could potentially be a conflict for me as well. And no, not for what you think. I'm not much of a partier, but it is actually a busy work day for us. But we'll see what happens. If we have to reschedule that, we'll talk to the admins about that as well. But that's not till next year. We got time to worry about it. "23 laps remain. The deficit still 3.5 tenths back to Hanneman. Other battles on the speedway. Old young Carson Youngblood in the 9th position. Still having a solid day. Maybe not a winning car, but definitely looking for a top 10. He can close this one out, have a solid 9th or 8th place finish. That'd be a good day for the youngster. Matt Sisler started 5th, runs 5th. Again, he was stellar in saving fuel. Take a look at the pit strategies again here. We're only 15 laps in, 16 now for Moore. I think that will leave everybody in good position regardless. I don't think fuel is going to be a problem for anybody. And that's what I get for trying to work out the schedule in my brain. Tuesday the 17th, albeit St. Patrick's Day, will not be as busy a day for me as you might think. So we're in good shape. No problems there. It's the Saturday before that becomes a problem. So no worries. Ken Couch in the chat. Another great broadcast, Steve. Ken, thanks for checking in, man. Ken's also been affiliated with us here at Track Limits for quite some time as a driver in various series that we've covered, starting off with the LSR series. They ran a lot of these next-gen races over the years. Ken, thanks for checking in, man. I appreciate it. Badger Sports, I'm really excited about Charlotte and Phoenix. I didn't notice, was Bristol, Martinsville, or Richmond on the schedule? I don't think it was, but it's always a crapshoot with Bristol and Martinsville. Just to talk about another league that we run on Monday nights, the IROC Challenge Series, we had some hellacious races at some of the short tracks But then a couple of weeks ago, they ran a stellar race at Bristol with 30-plus cars. So it's, I don't know, it's hard to really even tell. But they can be a little bit of an issue. So some guys like to avoid them. I don't blame them either, because they're not fun when they're caution fests.
Caution.
And
Save,
speaking of
save,
caution,
save. How was your car?
we've got one. Jackson West in trouble, the number 76 around. So this gets everybody caught up, and anybody with tires now has an opportunity. Question is, who does? Chris Stange made a pit stop at lap 91. It was 10.8 seconds, so I think he still has a set laying over pit wall. This race might be disappearing for Moore and Hanneman. We'll have to see what kind of fall off. These best laps these guys have run are in the high 29s. They're running in the mid 31s as the tires wear. Oh boy, this changes everything. ZeroX Media Design. You jinxed it, but still great racing. I don't know if I jinxed it, but let's see what happened to Jackson West. Now, this was coming out of pit lane. Did he just try to get too much? He's a little low. Oh, yeah. Well, that almost looks like he grabbed the wrong gear. He might have pulled when he should have pushed. Let's watch this from on board. Let's listen. There's second gear. Yep. Went the wrong way. There you go. So those that may not understand it, going from second gear to first when your intentions are third, not only going to buzz the motor way faster than you want to, it's also going to lock up those rear tires, and that is exactly what happened to Jackson West. Spun the car around. Luckily, again, didn't take anybody out. But this sets us up for an interesting finish. Tires get a chance to cool for those that can't change them, but we may have a couple of guys here that are going to be working their way through on fresh tires. That's what we call in the business the money shift, because it's expensive. Musco lighting system activated here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We may actually finish this thing under the darkness a little bit. So ZeroX Media and Design, since we're having a broadcast on March 17th, being St. Patrick's Day, is the broadcaster allowed to drink beer? And Jameson? I mean, if you say no, I won't do it as much. I won't get belligerent, I promise. Unless you want me to. We can plan it that way if you want. We'll make fools of ourselves. Badger Sports has done that. Had a piece of broken plastic blocking my H-pattern shifter from registering the gear change. Not fun figuring that out. Yeah, that's definitely not a blast. In these next-gen cars, it's tricky, too. They don't like to shift. So I don't think anybody really took the chance to pit here, so maybe nobody had the tires. So it's going to be a straight-up restart on old tires. Hopefully nobody spins them. Keep an eye on that. Hopefully they got them cleaned up and warmed back up. We're coming to green. As long as it's green beer. Well, it's hard to dye Guinness green, but yeah, I hear you.
Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. Moore with a good jump, but Hanneman with an okay reaction. Now he's going to have to contend with Cornette, though. He's right there, and he's been fast all night long. Moore gets out in front, still the battle behind him for second spot. Cornette to the bottom of the racetrack. Hanneman up top. They're still side by side. This is exactly what Moore wants to see, but the caution is out again. Trouble off turn number 4. Multiple cars involved in this one. Michael Thorne, one of them, and I think the 9 backwards there on the exit of turn number 4. That was Austin Walton. Looks like Juan Linares was involved in this as well. Let's get a look at it. Looks like, yeah, it starts right here with the 14. Oh, no, it didn't start there. It starts with the 9, Austin Walton. So we'll back this up again, take a second look. Ooh, off the nose of the 77. It was close. I think the 9 might have been loose. And as the car gets loose, the rear end steps out towards the wall, and the car starts to chase down the racetrack. Tough to say if he was just trying to clear the 77 or if it stepped out on him, but little overcorrection. A few guys just piling in there after. Big hit. Real big hit. Blaney gets a piece of the 9 as well. And then after that, it's guys just scattering, trying to avoid. Yeah, Dustin, I certainly don't partake in the St. Paddy's Day festivities the way that I used to, but definitely some Jameson and some Guinness, and got to get that corned beef and cabbage. My ancestry DNA used to say I was Irish, but then it switched, and all of a sudden I'm Scottish, so who knows? Either way, we're going to celebrate it anyway. But we'll be good for the broadcast. No worries there. So yeah, that's really the only conflict is that one in February for the Glen, which really kind of irks me because that's my favorite place to call races. Again, it's only an hour and 15 minutes south of where we're sitting right now. It's the reason I need 3 jobs. Place getting expensive. It's worth it. Not a fan of the Jameson, the corned beef, or the Guinness, I assume. I guess if you grew up on it, you grew up on it. It is what it is. I just like, I don't know, I like salt. You boil a corned beef brisket, it's salty. So lights on the pace truck have gone off, which means racing. Next time by, half a lap away from the restart. It'll be 10 laps to go. Moore and Cornette now 1 and 2. That's going to put Cornette on the top, though. He seemed to be in control on the bottom when he was trying to fight Hanneman for that second spot. Now he's going to have to wait for Moore to fire off before he can fire off. And that's really how he got the advantage on Hanneman on that last restart. So we'll see if the tables turn here. Pace truck makes the hard left turn and almost loses it.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. Just as we suspected, Hanneman takes advantage. He hits the second spot, but pounds the outside wall off turn number 4. You can't tell me he's going after it with everything he's got. He's got to wonder, did he damage the right front suspension on that number 85? We'll see if Cornette can take advantage. 9 laps to go. Hanneman hasn't lost much of his step there, only a half car length off the back bumper of Brandon Moore. Top 4 all single file as they head down into 3, and everybody spreads out. It's Moore, Hanneman, Cornette, Sisler, and Dunning in 5th. Little scrape of the wall again for Cornette this time. Cornette now in his own battle with Matt Sisler. Sisler on the charge, all over the back bumper of the 88, down turn number 1. Sisler keeps it up the racetrack and to try and build a run. Cornette got the bottom a little more than he bargained for. Shot him up the racetrack about a half a lane. Now side by side down the back stretch, and Sisler with a power move around the outside to take the 3rd spot. Here comes the 54 of Jamie Dunning looking for more. Speaking of Moore, he's checking out. 3/10 the advantage back to 2nd place while they're battling for position side by side, and now a 3-wide fight for the 2nd position. Cornette on the bottom, Hanneman in the middle, Sisler up top. Sisler on a charge, shot out of a cannon. He's got 1 lap fresher tires underneath him compared to the race leader Brandon Moore. With 7 laps to go, he's got him in his sights. It's a little scrape of the right rear. These next-gen Cup cars have been proven to be able to take a beating, at least here in the sim. Meanwhile, a Cornette and Hanneman battle continues, albeit now for 3rd and 4th place. Sisler running him down. He had it less than 3/10 just a moment ago. Backing up his entry into turns 3 and 4. He's going to build a run here on exit. Watch that number fall on the gap, and it's doing just that. About a quarter second at the start-finish line, little less. He's gaining a ton of ground here, headed down into turn 1, less than 2/10. 5 laps to go. And the caution out again, big time. Treat involved, it looks like this time. Carson Youngblood as well, and he has got some pretty heavy damage to the nose of that number 16 machine. So caution number 4 on the Speedway. Cautions breed cautions, folks. That's how it goes, especially when you get down to crunch time with 4 laps remaining. Got Craig Kennedy in the chat. Great race, very professional, everyone, just grand. Well, I'm semi-professional, I guess you could say. I've been talking about drinking on air and St. Patrick's Day parties and corned beef and cabbage in my schedule. Maybe that's not very professional, but at least it was under caution. Youngblood will come down and pit here to get some repairs made. Let's try to get a look what exactly happened to put us under this 4th yellow of the night. Jason Blaney making some contact here. It's a little late in the incident to see exactly how it transpired, but we're going to back it up. Get another look. Slow things down a bit. Maybe connection issues. Yes, indeed, that is the case. So we'll back it up further here. Watch the 16 disappear from view. Watch Jason Blaney. All of a sudden, the car will reappear. Boop. There you go. So we've talked about this a bunch, especially at Talladega last night, where you're really packed up. If you disappear, like we just saw Youngblood do, you don't fully leave the server unless you're gone for an extended period of time. So that gives you an opportunity to come back in. Unfortunately, when that happens, the driver who's in behind you, who may have been running a little faster, can occupy that space that you're about to fill. It was pretty close, but that seems to be what happened, and there's really no way for Jason Blaney to try and judge that. This late in the race, you kind of got to go for it and cross your fingers he doesn't land on top of you, and it was pretty darn close. Professional-ish. Perfect. Yes. So with 3 to go, this may send us to our green-white checkered attempt. Or will it? I guess it's going to depend here. Yes, this will send us into our overtime attempt here. It's 3 to go right now. Pace truck lights are still ablaze, so one more time around. We may catch the 1 to go this time. But that would make it a green and white and then checkered. So yes, we're going to have to add some extra laps to make this one count. So for those of you new to all this, green, white, checkered attempt. In this case, there's only one, so it actually makes it a little more easy to understand. They basically add laps to the race so that the fans have an opportunity to see this thing end under green flag conditions instead of behind the pace truck. They add extra laps, the green flag will come out, and then the very next flag, if it's not the yellow, will be the white. Of course, indicating a final lap. Then they'll run back around to the checkered, hence the green, white, checkered finish. Now, in cases where there's multiple attempts, if the yellow comes out before the leader takes the white flag, they'll stop it again, they'll add some more laps and try it a second and third time. In some cases, unlimited attempts. Gotta give Dustin a pat on the back for only doing one, because green, white, checkered finishes usually get crazy, and if it was unlimited, we could be here all night. Covered a 10-lap Bud Shootout style race the other night. It was a 10-lapper, of course. And with the green, white, checkered finishes, it effectively doubled the length of the race. Easy to do with only 10 laps, but you get the picture. So we'll get the restart here at lap 124. It'll be the green flag. Then we'll get the white flag after that. And we'll call it a day. Effectively only adding, I think, one extra lap to this race to get this overtime attempt in. Pace truck comes to pit lane. Will we get this done under green flag conditions? There it is. Green flag back in the air. Green, white, checkered finish underway. Brandon Moore gets away. Oh, in trouble after the restart. They're wrecking down into turn number one, and the caution comes out.
Second, in the wall.
Brandon Moore may have just won this race. He still needs to come back around and complete the race distance. Moore crosses the line here. This effectively would be the final lap of the race. Indeed it is. So he just needs to roll back around, pick up this win. So real quick here, we'll take a look at this. Sisler, Line, and Johnny DePasquale involved. Moore coming back around to start-finish. Yellow flag waving. Moore does need to come to start-finish, though. He still needs to cross the stripe first. And there it is. Barney waving the checkered flag. This one will end under the caution flag, but Brandon Moore going to take credit for the win nonetheless. A hard-fought second-place finish for Chris Cornett. Hanneman, strong car all night. He'll finish third. So Brandon Moore in a factory FX number 3 Mustang. I cannot get used to seeing a 3 on a Ford, but that's just me. I'm old. Hanneman jumping in, congratulating the 3. Brandon Moore with the win. And he earned it. It's not like this thing, somebody lucked into it. Moore was dominant here tonight. Won the race from pole position, led the most laps. I'm already excited for Iowa. I think Brandon's excited, folks. And that'll do it here. We're going to step aside, get our last break out of the way. We'll have our top 3 finishers in the booth after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Sin City 125 in the books. Race 2 in the books. Brandon Moore picking up the race win here tonight from pole position. Let's get a word with our race winner here, Brandon Moore. Pull him up into the broadcast booth. Brandon, it's Steve with Track Limits Network. You got me?
I got you, sir.
Brandon, congratulations, man. A hot rod out there tonight. Put it on pole position with a blistering lap. Led the most laps here tonight, and then drive it to victory after surviving a green-white checkered finish. Walk us through your race. What was the strategy coming into tonight, and how'd you hold those guys off at the finish?
Well, the strategy coming in was to save a little bit of fuel because, it was going to be a little close, and then the caution came out. It threw that out the window. And then the main thing was just trying to maintain the lead, keep the air on the nose, not let the dirty air burn up the right front tire. And then as far as the restart goes, I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a restart by Chris. I kind of missed up my shifts on that last restart. I got kind of lucky there that I was able to, maintain the lead there. But overall, real happy with the performance. Put a lot of time in the practice, running laps, long run, short run, and effort paid off. We got us a win. So main thing going to this new league was to make sure that I at least get a win, and we've achieved that. So now we got to go out here and win us a championship.
Well, Brandon, I want to talk a little bit about the dirty air that you mentioned. We saw a lot of guys, especially off turn number 4, kind of pancaking the right side on corner exit in traffic. Was the dirty air really causing a lot of tight conditions?
It really was. The dirty air is really bad. Towards the end, I had my teammate Raymond behind me, and I slid up just enough to give him some dirty air, and he pancaked the wall with the right front, got some wheel damage. I felt bad about that, but yeah, I mean, you get within, 4/10, half a second behind a car, you run the same green as they are, your car just stops turning. It's like you're not turning the wheel. It's pretty aggressive on the dirty air, so it makes for interesting racing on these sides of tracks. I like it, but is a challenge for the drivers.
Speaking of challenges, next week, Iowa Speedway, kind of a Richmond Raceway on steroids. What kind of approach changes do you make on that short track out in Iowa?
It really just depends on the setup. If it's a tighter setup, you're going to want to definitely back up your entries, try to save the right front that way. And if it's a little looser, you're going to have to watch your throttle application on the exit. So it just depends on how the set feels. I'm going to approach it the same way. I'm going to try to stay up front, qualify well, keep track position, and try to come out with a similar result. I want to shoot for a podium, each race, so we'll see if we can achieve that.
Podiums each week will make for some good points racing for sure, coming down to it. Brandon, congratulations for picking up the win here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Before we let you go, who do you want to thank?
I just want to thank the admins and the people who put a lot of effort into making stuff like this happen. I know there's a lot involved with that, and then they take their time to make it happen. Always want to thank the broadcasters, folks like yourself. You do such a fantastic job for, putting on a good show for the folks at home. I know this was a good race to watch. At least I think it would have been, sitting from the couch side of things. But yeah, I just want to thank my teammates too. We all work together. We try to put a lot of time in practice, helping each other learn, get better, and it takes everybody. But yeah, just real thankful to come out here to run good and get a win.
All right, Brandon, again, job well done. Thanks for talking to us. Thanks for the kind words. Good luck in Iowa.
I appreciate you.
Brandon Moore, your race winner here in Vegas. Next, we're going to talk to Chris Cornett. Had a lot of work to do here tonight, but he takes home a second place finish because of it. Let's see if we can find him here in the waiting room. We got too many people in it. Hang on. And there it is. Chris Cornett, Steve with Track Limits. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Chris, congratulations, man. A 13th qualifying position, but that's not where you started. Had to take the EOL to start this thing off. Walk us through the process of your race. Obviously, you had to work through a lot of traffic in that early run there, and then, of course, a couple of green flag pit stops. But then at the end of this thing, a couple of cautions, a couple of restarts, and some opportunities there as you got by Raymond Hanneman. What was the strategy there at the end?
Yeah, first of all, let's thank ZeroX, Media Design, for letting me race on their team. Thanks, shout out especially to Dustin. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have raced tonight. So, but yeah, no, I'd start the bat due to last week, lap 4 incident. My thing was long race. It's probably going to go green for a while, so manage my tires. And I think I executed that perfectly, better than anybody else, because I was better on the longer run. But man, I hated to see that caution come out, because you know what they say, cautions bring cautions. So I was wanting to see how that was going to play out, because I was catching the top two, little bit by little bit. But yeah, sucks we didn't get to race it out there at the end. I thought I'd have something for him. So, but it was a real good race, good long run race.
Always good. We can see a couple of rounds of green flag pit stops. There's opportunities there as far as getting in and out of pit lane and being fast about it. Centering yourself in that pit box the best. That's a great way to get a faster pit stop and get back out there and gain some track position. Next week, though, Iowa Speedway. A little bit smaller racetrack than what we dealt with here tonight. As I said to Brandon Moore, it's kind of like a big Richmond. Do you approach that place very similarly, or is it a completely different animal?
Well, it's a smaller track, so I'd say it's a different animal, big difference. It can easily spin, getting back on the throttle too hard, you could wear your tire a lot worse. So I'd be extra conservative next week going into that race. So hopefully we can kind of get a good finish next week too. I'm pretty good at that track, so hopefully we can one spot short. Hopefully we can get one spot better next week.
Certainly looking forward to it, Chris. Congratulations on a runner-up finish here tonight. Who do you want to thank?
Thank ZeroX, my teammates, friends, family watching the stream. Thank you. You do a heck of a job of streaming. Love your streams. Yeah, so hopefully, like I said, we can keep going, bring some goodness.
That's all you can do, Chris. Congrats, man. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck in Iowa.
Thank you.
It's Chris Cornett, runner-up here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the 85 of Raymond Hanneman. Had a rocket ship here tonight, just didn't quite have that extra bit of oomph to get around those guys. We'll see if we get a word with the driver of the 85. Raymond, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got us?
Got a copy.
Raymond, congratulations, man. A solid run here tonight. Started 6th, finished 3rd. You were fast. You had some leading opportunities there for a while ahead of Brandon Moore. I don't know if he was just trying to see how his car would handle in dirty air or if it was the dirty air that was keeping him back there. How was it affecting you tonight as far as being in traffic is concerned?
I mean, with just following Brandon and whatnot, it wasn't too bad. I mean, we were kind of running offset there, just working together. I had plenty of opportunities to go up beside him and slow him down, but after the first green flag pit stop, with the gap we had, there's no point in really racing it out. Like, we got a long race, we got another pit stop to do. We're kind of just trying to strategize it and whatnot, but when you get behind the lap cars and whatnot, that's when it gets a little bit dicey, and they're all trying to stay on the lead lap, and they're a lot more of them in front of you, so you got to really fight through the dirty air, and they're kind of holding you guys up because they don't want to get lapped down, and then they let the guys behind you go by, so you really got to pick and choose how you want to battle and where you want to battle on the track. And I think that's where I fell short tonight. I didn't really have a lot of practice in that, but I mean, overall, still P3 is not bad.
Not bad at all. Certainly an impressive run here tonight. You gave your teammate Brandon Moore everything that you had there when you could. Just wasn't quite enough, but again, you said top 3, good points night, taking that into Iowa next week. Short track racing to get this season started off, first short track of the season. How do you prepare for Iowa?
I mean, we've been doing pretty good with our practices. We're practicing about 3-4 times a week right now, and watching a lot of VOD and film, and going on our own, doing our own test sessions, making sure that we're just ready for it. Really practicing the restarts, pit entries, everything that's you can't really. It's really on yourself. It's not really just in the fate of racing, right? So, doing the best we can on that, and then it'll all come down the race day after it all meshes together.
Sounds like the team has a plan. Raymond, congratulations, 3rd place here tonight. Who do you want to shout out to?
I got to give a big shout out to my girlfriend for watching. Appreciate her for supporting me throughout all this. I got a big shout out to my spotter tonight. He wasn't here at Daytona, but big help tonight. I got to thank you guys and all the admins for putting on this amazing show. All the fans that are out there watching. Appreciate you guys tuning in and out. It's going to be a great season. I got to thank Fueled Up for allowing me to race with them tonight, or this whole season, really. Eternal Racing, all the Fuel Up sponsors, Triple Stint, and I think I have a couple more, but I forget at the moment. So
something tells me we're going to be talking to you more than once this season. You'll have a chance again. Raymond, congratulations again. 3rd place here at Vegas. Good luck next week in Iowa.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Raymond Hanneman, 3rd place here tonight. It's going to conclude the interviews for tonight's broadcast. Let's take a look at our race results. Of course, we already talked to our top 3, Brandon Moore, Chris Cornett, and Raymond Hanneman. 4th place was Jamie Dunning. Jason Blaney drove it from the back to 5th, even with some damage on that number 22 after a late race crash. Got the job done here tonight. Chris Stange was 6th. Robbie Good came home in the 7th position. 8th went to Tommy Janikowski. Rance Tatro, I'm still saying it wrong, I know. He finished 9th. Benjamin Smith was 10th. Dave Mayberry brought it home in 11th. Blake Hochschild was 12th. Jim Treat, 13th. Chris Perea, still screwing that one up too. I'll work on it, guys. Matt Sisler, strong run tonight, but not the finish he was looking for. 15th at the end of this. Johnny DePasquale was 16th. Nathan Line, 17th. Tommy Pulte was 18th. Don Canwright was 19th. Kerwin Marshall, 20th. Michael Thorne, 21st. 22nd. Not the night that Carson Youngblood was looking for. He was up into that top 10 till the latter stages of tonight. Having an issue late, finishes this one 22nd, 2 laps down. Derek Buckaloo was 23rd. Jason Aranchak, 24th. Juan Linares, 25th. Austin Walton 26th. Jackson West was 27th, and out very early Wesley Jeanette with some form of hardware failure. Black screens, kind of hard to race when you can't see. So that's going to do it. That's the results from the Sin City 125 ZeroX Strategy Series. We'll see you guys next week at Iowa. Thanks for watching.